You just bought something you wanted for months. The moment it arrives, you feel it. That rush, that brief, warm sense that everything is right, and then, within days, sometimes hours, it fades. You start thinking about the next thing. You tell yourself that one was just too small, too slow, too ordinary. The next one will finally do it. Now imagine that feeling. But the next purchase is a yacht, then an island, then a space rocket, then another space rocket because the first one wasn't enough. This is not ambition. This is not drive. This is something far stranger happening inside the human mind, and it does not spare anyone. Not you, not the person reading their net worth in a browser tab at 2 a.m., not the man who already owns more than most countries will ever produce. The real answer to why billionaires cannot stop wanting more is not greed. It is not evil. It is a psychological trap so deep, so invisible, so total, that the more you win, the tighter it holds. In 1978, psychologists Philip Brickman and Donald Campbell published a concept that would quietly explain almost everything wrong with the way humans chase success. They called it the hedonic treadmill. The idea is simple and devastating. Human beings are wired to return to a stable emotional baseline no matter what happens to them. Win the lottery, lose your legs. Within roughly a year, most people report nearly the same level of happiness they felt before. The event that seemed like it would change everything changes almost nothing permanently. Brickman himself tested this with lottery winners. He expected to find euphoric, transformed people. What he found were people who had stopped enjoying ordinary pleasures, a conversation, a good meal, a sunny afternoon. The lottery had recalibrated their baseline so far upward that normal life now felt flat and colorless. They had not gained happiness. They had lost access to the happiness they already had. Now apply that to $1 billion. The first million feels enormous. The first 100 million reshapes your entire reality. But by the time you reach 1 billion, and then 2, and then 10, the hedonic treadmill has been running so long at such speed that almost nothing registers anymore. The private jet is no longer a miracle. It is Tuesday. The yacht is maintenance. The mansion is just where you sleep. This is not ingratitude. It is neuroscience. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman, who won the Nobel Prize in Economics, spent decades studying the relationship between money and happiness. His research found that beyond a certain income threshold, one that covers comfort, safety, and meaningful experience, additional wealth produces almost no measurable increase in day-to-day emotional well-being. The number has been debated, revised, and updated over the years, but the core finding has never moved. More money does not equal more happiness, it equals more wanting. So why do they keep going? Because the wanting feels like meaning. This is the part nobody talks about. When you are pursuing a goal, when the next milestone is still ahead of you, your brain floods with dopamine, not when you arrive, when you are on the way. The neuroscientific research of Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan drew a sharp line between two systems in the brain that most people assume are the same thing: wanting and liking. Wanting is driven by dopamine. It is urgent, electric, forward-pulling. It makes the target feel essential, almost sacred. Liking is a quieter system, driven by opioids in the brain. It is the actual pleasure of having the thing, the warmth, the satisfaction. Here is what Berridge found. These two systems can operate independently. You can want something desperately and feel almost nothing when you get it. You can be addicted to the pursuit and indifferent to the prize. And in conditions of extreme wealth, this is exactly what happens. The wanting system is constantly stimulated by new targets, new competitors, new possibilities. But the liking system is dulled, recalibrated, numbed by years of easy access to everything. The billionaire is not chasing pleasure. The billionaire is chasing the feeling of chasing. And there is another layer beneath even that. Social psychologist Leon Festinger introduced the concept of social comparison in 1954. Humans, he argued, constantly evaluate themselves not against an absolute standard, but against the people around them. You do not decide you are tall by measuring yourself against a doorframe. You decide you are tall by standing next to other people. You do not decide you are successful by looking at a number. You decide you are successful by looking at who is ahead of you. This is uncomfortable to sit with, because it means there is no finish line. Not really. The moment you surpass one comparison point, your mind quietly resets and finds a new one. You are no longer measuring yourself against people who earn what you earn. You are measuring yourself against the next person above you, and then the next, and then the ones whose names appear on lists, and then the ones whose names do not appear anywhere because their wealth is old enough to be invisible. Jeff Bezos knows what Elon Musk is worth. Elon Musk knows what Jeff Bezos is worth. This is not curiosity. This is the same social comparison mechanism that made your ancestors scan the camp to see who had more meat. The scale has changed. The wiring has not. And here is the twist that makes this genuinely disturbing. At the scale of extreme wealth, winning becomes almost impossible to feel, and losing becomes catastrophic to the ego. Research on loss aversion developed by Kahneman and Amos Tversky showed that humans feel losses roughly twice as powerfully as equivalent gains. Losing $10 feels worse than gaining $10 feels good. Scale that psychology to billions. A drop in net worth, even one that leaves a person with more money than they could ever spend in 100 lifetimes, registers in the brain as a genuine threat, a humiliation, a defeat. This is why billionaires fight over fractions of market share they will never personally experience. This is why a person with $100 billion lobbies governments, crushes competitors, and works 18-hour days. Not because they need more, because their brain has decided that losing, even symbolically, even in a spreadsheet, is danger. They are not greedy. They are trapped. And before you feel too distant from any of this, consider your own life for a moment. Think about the last time you got a raise. How long before it felt normal? Think about the last goal you reached. How quickly did your eyes move to the next one? Think about the purchases sitting in your home right now. Things you wanted badly, things that barely register when you look at them. The mechanism inside the billionaire's mind is not foreign to you. It is the same mechanism. It is just running at a scale so extreme that its absurdity becomes visible. When a normal person cannot feel satisfied by what they have, it is called restlessness. When a billionaire cannot feel satisfied by $100 billion, the same mechanism has simply run out of room to hide. The hedonic treadmill does not care how fast you run. It only cares that you keep running. And the strangest part of all of this is that the billionaires who seem most consumed, most driven, most relentless, most unable to stop, are often the ones who started running the hardest, the earliest, before anyone told them the treadmill never actually takes you anywhere. Tonight, when you feel that pull towards something you do not need, when the wanting comes with that strange urgency that feels almost like purpose, you are not experiencing desire. You are experiencing one of the oldest tricks the human mind plays on itself, the same trick that built rockets, the same trick that built empires, the same trick that cannot stop, because the moment it stops, it has to ask a question it does not know how to answer. Was any of it ever actually enough?